Good evening. So let me take you to our week 3 and 4, rather. Can't believe we're already kind of midpoint and we are on to week 4. So this week we are getting into the realm of funding for community colleges. And so the articles are really helping us to think about, how financial aid helps students or does it not? And remember, we talked about, the kind of student population that come to community colleges. A good number of them, in fact, a majority of them, depend on FAFSA or some kind of aid. Otherwise, they cannot afford the college. So these articles kind of highlight some of the issues because, are they really punishing the poor unintentionally, though? That's what the first article is, the policies associated with financial aid. And we all know how complicated FAFSA can be. And there's also an article on performance-based funding. A lot of funding is based on how the colleges perform. And I am not a fan of that, definitely, because you cannot apply the same yardstick for community colleges because of the type of students who come. They take time to get used to college, and so their performance would be slow. And if you use that as a yardstick, then definitely they will be at a disadvantage. So read these articles with that lens in mind and see whether these things hurt the funding, what would help in funding, kind of looking ahead and in preparation for your the third assignment, A3, which is to write a paper about a free community college. So the video would help you with a little bit about where the funding comes for the community colleges, and the particularly chapter 5 in your book enumerates the funding sources because community colleges are city colleges. So a lot of funding comes from the city. And for example, my institution depends on the city's budget allocation. And sometimes they don't. They cut our budget if their budget gets cut. And the other resources from the state. So again, we have to keep lobbying for more funding from the state. And a good chunk of money comes from the tuition, but we cannot increase the tuition for these students, as we all know why. So where does the funding come and whether the funding is adequate? It's never adequate, if you ask me. So what can we do, to help? Because the students need resources, faculty need resources. So where can the funding come from? So I would, the week's discussion topic is kind of getting you prepared for your paper, whether a free community college is feasible, and how can all the stakeholders get involved, and if it is feasible, what are the criteria, where can the funding come from. And I'm going to go over to week 4 as well because it's kind of continuation of what we are starting in week 5. So week 4 and 5 go together, though the readings are a little bit different because we go on to humanities, liberal arts, education, and also the labor market and how community college education helps with the labor market for the students to get a job. And the chapter 9 and 11 from your book speak to these two topics. But what I would like you to focus on in week 4 is this paper that's coming up in week 5. It's due in week 5, but I would say start thinking about it in week 4. The question or the paper, the topic is federal student aid are critical to educating the students at community college. And, we do have to invest in our students. And, President Obama, I remember, had declared a free community college. And in fact, the now president, Joe Biden, and his wife, Jill Biden, who's a community college instructor herself, came to my college when they promised this. But that was a long time ago, in 2015. And it's 7 years since then, and there's been no movement about it. So we need more educational leaders to advocate for this. So since you are going in that field, so think about it and write a 3 to 4 page position paper advocating for a free community college and giving your arguments as to why we need to advocate for a free community college education. Use all the articles, resources that we have read so far, your own knowledge, and build your case. In other words, think of as if you're lobbying to someone in the state legislature or federal government, and you are appealing for a free community college education. So your tone has to be formal. It's more like a very official document. You are presenting a case for a free community college. So keep that in mind and develop your paper. So you have kind of 2 weeks to get ready for this paper. So that's what I would say kind of focus on while you are thinking about the group project. Please let me know the groups that you would be wanting to work with and the 2 student population that you would want to focus on by February 9th. All right. And as always, any questions, email, and I'll be happy to talk to you.